Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups, and it's time for the weekly comic book review. That's right, everybody. Thanks for checking out the video. I am Rockin Robbie Billups. This is the weekly comic book review. It's the show where I read a lot of comic books and I let you know what I think about them. And we always start with the pick of the week, and this week's pick of the week, Worldtree number 13. That's right, y'all. The book that I have been struggling with makes the pick of the week. Alright, so Worldtree's been one of those books. The basic premise of Worldtree is this. There's a group of kids who get together and they discover something called the Undernet. And it's an alien demonic form of the internet, right? It's the Undernet, right? So it's even more like heinous than, say, like the dark web or something like that, right? So the whole book has been about the Undernet, this demonic internet kind of infiltrating reality, right? And I don't know, somewhere around like issue 5 or 6, I started losing the plot. I started not being able to know who the characters were, what was going on, and to be honest with you, I have many times decided to quit reading this book. And then for some reason, I can't stop it. It's almost like the Undernet itself, right? It's almost like there's this nefarious undercurrent to my life that's causing me to continue to read this book. All right. So we've had 2 arcs already. Now we're in the 3rd arc, and it started last issue where we're getting the origin of this character, Phaser. Phaser, by the way, is the bleached, blonde, completely nude assassin that we've seen throughout the books. In fact, the cover has straight up nipples on it. Like, if you really look closely, you see straight up nipples on the cover. That's wild. That's cool. I talked about this book before. Being James Tynion's version of transgressive comics in a somewhat mainstream medium. So, that being said, this issue rocked. This issue was amazing. I'm so glad I stuck with it. Now, here's the thing. All the characters, I'm losing the plot. I'm not really following the story as closely as I want to. I do need to go back and reread some stuff and catch up and see if that would like help me out a little bit. But one character I do know about this book is Phaser, which is the bleach blonde nude assassin. This story is telling her origin, right? So it started in issue number 12, but in issue number 13, we get a deep dive into what exactly happened when this woman had her first experience with the Undernet and how that changed and shaped the rest of her life. I'm going to tell you something. Does this book make sense? To me, yes. To most, probably not. But the art in this book is absolutely amazing. Fernando Blanco does such a great job here. Who's the colorist? It's Jordie Bellaire, Aditya Bidikar on the lettering. Y'all, the art, the way that they tell this story, the colors, the paneling, the design, the composition of each single page, everything about this book frickin' works. This is a really great single issue, and in a week of some really solid comics, this one stands above and beyond the rest and makes the pick of the week. So Worldtree, a book that I almost gave up on because of its artistic integrity and its innovative approach to the medium, especially in issue number 13. First of all, this is the best issue of Worldtree yet. This is the best issue of Worldtree yet. And I loved it. It made the pick of the week. I'm glad I stuck with this book. James Tynion, Fernando Blanco, Aditya Bidikar, and Jordie Bellaire are really, I think, killing it. And I think I need to start over with issue number 1, get caught back up, and see if I can get a cohesive vision of this series. Which there is a vision. There is a cohesive quality to this story. I've just been kind of losing it. It's kind of something that happens in James Tynion books where he has a larger cast than, say, like 5 people, where I kind of get lost in it. But man, this is the one character that has resonated with me. I mean, no surprise there, but this book was amazing. Experimental, innovative, great art, great coloring, a decent story, solid story actually, great lettering. Everything about this book actually works for me. So yeah, pick of the week. There you go, Worldtree issue number 13. Also from Image Comics and Skybound, we have G.I. Joe issue number 4. G.I. Joe! I love this book. G.I. Joe was so much freaking fun. Great coloring by Jordi Belair. I believe some of the stuff that she was trying to experiment with in Birds of Prey that a lot of people really resonated with, but it wasn't quite vibing with me, works in G.I. Joe. Her color choices are amazing. She has this like sketchy vintage kind of off-putting approach to the colors here, and it works. But what really works about this book is Joshua Williamson's passion and energy for the G.I. Joe property. And it comes across here, and it comes across in magnificent fashion. Tom Riley's pencils and inks are absolutely amazing. The art is solid. The lettering is solid. The story is super solid. G.I. Joe continues to be a super solid book. All right, then we got the finale of the Holy Roller, issue number 9 here. This is a book that is written by Rick Remender, Andy Samberg, and Joe Troman, with artwork by Roland Boschi. Now, this book has taken a while to come out, right? I feel like the last 3 issues of this book have really been delayed a whole lot, right? But it's all worth it. The payoff here in the final issue, until I thought about it, this was going to be the pick of the week. This is the runner-up pick of the week, if you want to call it that. This book was awesome. Such a great, poignant, and astute finale to this book, which is silly and comical and a little bit on the nose with some of its thematic material, but at the same time, it has a lot of heart, has a lot of charm, and the ending and the book itself, quite freaking wholesome, y'all. I really love this book. I want to see this adapted with Andy Samberg in the starring role. I'm pretty sure that's why this comic book was created, so that Andy Samberg could be a superhero. Basically, the Holy Roller, who's like, he bowls. There's a D's nuts joke in this book that had me laughing out loud. If a comic book has me laughing out loud, that's a big deal. Of course, it's not hard if you do a D's nuts joke, but that D's nuts joke was perfectly timed. It was really good. Another potential pick of the week was Doll Parts, A Lovesick Tale, issue number 3 from Luana Vecchio. So I know for a fact now that this book is, in fact, a prequel to Lovesick. This is Domino as a child. I didn't pick up on that in the first 2 issues. People had to let me know about that. And then I researched it just a little bit, and it's true. This is a prequel to Lovesick, and it works, man. Lovesick was a book that was sexy and gnarly, violent and bloody and unsettling, and at the same time titillating slightly. This book, not titillating, because now we're dealing with the character of Domino as a young girl, probably like, 14 years old or something here, and it kind of flips the script and lets you know the really nasty, perverted, heinous stuff that happened to her that women have to deal with from a very young age that lead to very complex and complicated adult lives, right? Especially in the vein of Domino and Lovesick. I love this book. This issue in particular was the best of the series. The art is great. The thematic material is great. The story is amazing. It is unsettling. This is not a book. This is not a sexy book. This is not a book that makes you like, oh, this is a book that's supposed to put you on the edge. This is a book that puts you on notice even a little bit, right? I fucking love this book. I think it's brilliant. I think that this is a very bold choice for Vecchio. Luana Vecchio is an amazing artist, and she is exploring some really interesting things here, including like a teenage girl's first time having sex. Like, And it feels uncomfortable, right? She puts you in to the perspective of Madeline so freaking well. It's unnerving. After you read this book, you just rethink a lot of stuff, right? This book is amazing. It's so well crafted, and it is bold in doing things that other comics don't want to do, telling stories that other comics don't want to tell. Luana Vecchio is killing it. She is a blessing in this industry, and we need more provocative, innovative, and bold works like this. Then we got King Spawn, issue number 42. All right, after the events of Spawn 350, 360, whatever the hell it is, all the Spawns have their powers back. So King Spawn, Al Simmons, he has his power back. And now we're starting a new story. So one of the things I love about Spawn comics, Todd McFarlane has this theory. People look at a comic book when they go to the shop, right? They go to the shop, they flip through a comic, and they flip through, and he's like, you need 2 pages. 2 pages that really freaking work. That makes somebody go, I got to pick up this book. That was page 1, this is page 2, right? And Todd McFarlane Spawn books always elevate the artists that are working on them. Now, so the artist here is Yildre Zinar. It freaking works, and it works well. We're starting a new story here in King Spawn, and I'm all for it, man. $2.99 still, cardstock cover. Great smell, not the smell of the week, but still pretty solid. All right, let's jump over to Marvel, where we have Weapon X-Men issue number 1 from my boy Joe Casey with art by Chris Cross. This was a really super solid X-Men book. I loved it so freaking much. It has a really great smell to it too. I don't know what Marvel did with their paper quality, but their comics smell glorious this week. Not the smell of the week, but Weapon X-Men is a really solid book. This is the X-Men book that a lot of people are waiting for. If you've been reading X-Men, let's say through the Krakoan era, post-Hickman, through the Krakoan era, into the From the Ashes thing, and nothing's really working for you, and you want something a little bit more old school, check this book out. It's Cable, Deadpool, Wolverine, Chamber, and Thunderbolt. Thunderbird. Not Warpath, Thunderbird. Joe Casey is playing with some interesting concepts here. This is really the first time he's playing with Deadpool, and Deadpool's kind of like his own voice for this book, and it works for me. There's twists, there are turns. This is an interesting team. This is a great concept, and I know that Joe Casey has got some plans. Now, Joe Casey is no stranger to mainstream comics. He's no stranger to the X-Office, but man, it's got to be weird to come back 25 years later and do an X-Men book when Joe Casey's kind of been doing his own thing for decades at this point, right? This, to him, I think is a challenge. I think he takes this as a challenge. Can I do a mainstream book? Joe, you can, you did, and you are doing it. You're actively doing it. This book slaps. This book is awesome. If you're a Deadpool, Cable, or Wolverine fan, check it out. And why is Chamber in here? It's because Joe Casey loves Chamber, y'all. I've had Joe on the channel a lot over the last year. Check out some of those conversations, especially the last couple. He talks about this book. He's excited about this book. I'm excited about this book. You should be excited about this book. Weapon X-Men number 1 out this week. I almost knocked over Super Bugs Bunny there. All right, then we got the One World Under Doom stuff really in full effect. By the way, they give a One World Under Doom thing to this Weapon X-Men. I'm going to tell you this straight up. This is not a tie-in to the Doom story that's going on. This is bullshit from Marvel Comics. I'm saying that because if you look at this book and you go, oh, it's a tie-in to this One World Under Doom, I'm going to skip it. It's not. This is a new X-Men book that works. I almost said slaps, but I'm trying to stay away from that. But I'll tell you this, Joe Casey slaps. Slaps hard. Anyway, so One World Under Doom is in full effect now, and now we got Doom Academy. This is the next Strange Academy book, basically. And, it was pretty whack. It's pretty whack. It wasn't very good, y'all. It wasn't good. Why? Because it's not Scotty Young. It's not Humberto Ramos. I feel like Strange Academy is now in the place of where Young Avengers and the Runaways were in the 2000s, where they had really great initial runs, Runaways and Young Avengers. But then, nobody knew what to do with this property. So every time there was an event, whether it was Secret Invasion or Civil War or something like that, they had to force these books into tie-ins just to keep the property alive. That's what's going on with Strange Academy, with Doom Academy. It's alright. The idea is Doom is now the Sorcerer Supreme, so Strange Academy becomes Doom Academy. It's not really well explained. It's kind of dumb. It's kind of stupid. And I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. And I'm the biggest Doom head out there. Victor Von Doom is like my second favorite fictional character of all time, right behind Dracula. And this book was whack, in my opinion. Then we got Thunderbolts Doomstrike, issue number 1. It's Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly. Tomasi Bianchi. By the way, a lot of Marvel books have crap art nowadays, but the art in this book is actually pretty cool. It's got a grit. It's got a texture to it that I really do like and appreciate. The idea of this story is this. Bucky Barnes, who was the leader, I guess, of the last Thunderbolts team, is approached by Dr. Doom, Victor, who I call him Vicky, because I'm cool like that. But Bucky is approached by Vicky to say, like, yo, I want you on my side. Make a team for me. And then Bucky Barnes is like, oh, maybe. No, I'm not going to do that. And then there's a Doom Thunderbolts and then the other Thunderbolts. And it's all right. It's better than Doom Academy. But in my opinion, still kind of whack. Didn't really work. But I do got to give shout outs to the art there. Then we got the Amazing Spider-Man issue 68. The next part of the 8 deaths of Spider-Man. Spider-Man's been meandering around too much. He's been sad. Woe is me. Everybody will die. I don't want to be Spider-Man. I don't want to save the universe anymore. So stupid. They lingered in that so freaking long. Now, this is the issue where he comes out of it, but I'll be honest with you. I'm done. I'm done. I'm only reading this book because I know there's only a couple issues left until the reboot. Like, just finish this damn story, reboot it, let Joe Kelly cook, and let him do what he's doing, and we'll see what happens in April. But so far, Amazing Spider-Man, it's just not working for me. Uncanny X-Men is here with issue number 10, another pretty interesting issue of Uncanny X-Men. I do feel like there's a little bit of the luster that is lost in Uncanny X-Men. I've enjoyed this book. It's been my favorite X book pretty much of the main titles. Like, you got the Jed McKay X-Men, that's all right. You got this. Exceptional X-Men is out this week. It's all about to go into a big crossover. This issue was cool. I like the Andre Bresson artwork. I think it's cool. I like these werewolf, these wolf sentinels or whatever. That's interesting. That's cool. Kind of wraps up the story. Setting up some interesting Nightcrawler stuff that's going to be developed at some point when Gail Simone doesn't have to deal with a crossover coming up. But Uncanny X-Men, because of the forced crossover with X-Men and the upcoming crossover with all of the X titles, it's losing some of its momentum. A little bit. I need David Marquez back. Stat! We really do. Earth's Mightiest Mutant is here. Storm issue number 5. It says One World Under Doom. Don't let that dissuade you from this book. And this is why I'm saying this. A lot of times, the banner to tie into an event entices people to check it out. Nowadays, you are way smarter than we were 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. You know that it's all bullshit. You know it's all bullshit. So a lot of times when you see a banner tying something into an event, you skip it. Do not skip Storm. Storm is phenomenal. This issue takes a cosmic turn that I did not see coming, that was giant, explosive, and super freaking interesting, y'all. If you love Jonathan Hickman, If you love Grant Morrison's work, if you love Dennis Camp, read this book. It takes a Storm story and really elevates it to truly cosmological proportions. Absolutely phenomenal. Phenomenal, y'all. Do I want an ongoing Storm book? Not necessarily, but if this is the ongoing Storm book, fuck yes, I want it. This is amazing, and it's taking that story and it really elevates it to an upper echelon of excellency and awesomeness. This book freaking slaps. Y'all need to be reading Storm. Alright, then we got Mystique, the final issue here with issue number 5. Declan Shalvey's been doing a solid job with this book, using his Mystique book as a way to tell a spy thriller within the Marvel Universe, within the X Universe, within the Marvel Universe, if you will. And what a great conclusion to this story. This is the final issue, but it wraps everything up so interesting, so creatively, and it leaves Mystique in a different position than she was when she first started. And I know a lot of people read these books and they're like, oh, this book is here just to get this character over. No. Mystique is not here to get the character Mystique over, because let's be honest, that character's already over. When I'm talking about wrestling terms, I don't mean it's like, she's over, it's done. No, she's over. People love Mystique. This was interesting. Subverted my own expectations, and Declan Shalvey doing art, fantastic. Really loved it. All right. Then we got Ultimate Wolverine issue number 2, better than issue number 1. I liked issue number 1. I loved issue number 2. Written by Chris Condon with artwork by Alessandro Capuccio, I believe is the name. Look at the end of the month. Alessandro Capuccio. That's right. This book is awesome. It's really good. In the Ultimate Universe, Wolverine is basically the Winter Soldier, and he's vicious, he's scary, and we're building up the backstory, and we're taking our time with it, but still, what I love about Chris Condon's script is that he's not being too quick with the pace, but he's not being too slow. This is not a slow burn, but it's also not a quick-paced book, a fast read, or anything like that. There is deliberate time and pacing and thought being given to this book's pacing. My bad. There is deliberate time and thought being given to the pacing of this book, and it works. And it works 111%. Why 11? Because Ultimate books go to 11, including Ultimate Black Panther issue number 13. So we've ended the big arc. Ra and Khonshu have been defeated. Black Panther has them in his grasp. But there is this mystery of vibranium, and it's a spiritual, magical, metaphysical kind of question to be pondered, right? So the new Sorcerer Supreme in the Ultimate Universe, she shows up. What's her name? Anon. It's Anon. And there's some really interesting concepts being played with here in Ultimate Black Panther. I know a lot of people thought that this book was a little bit of too much of a slow burn and didn't really work. I think every issue has had a very action-packed scene, had some interesting development. It's been very deliberate in its pace. And to be honest with y'all, I love Ultimate Black Panther, and this is no exception. Brian Edward Hill is killing it, and Stefan Caselli is killing it on the artwork. All right, then we get Aliens vs. Avengers issue number 3. Man, this book takes some time, probably because Assad Ribic is Ribic, or whatever, however you say his name, is the artist. This book was my favorite so far out of this series. I really like it. So yeah, the Aliens versus the Avengers, but it's the Avengers in the future playing with Hickman ideas, whether they're from the Avengers or whether they're from his X-Men comics, right? So in this book, our surviving heroes from Earth after the xenomorph destruction of Earth, basically, they have to go to Mars where the mutants still live, because I think Hickman's still playing with some of his ideas from the X-Men books that he didn't get to bring to fruition. And, man, Mr. Sinister's already fucked everything up, y'all. It really, really has. And this was a really solid book. I like it. A multimedia crossover like this, Aliens and Avengers, could be lame, could be stupid, but under a Hickman's guiding hand, it absolutely rocks. Let's jump over to DC. And from DC, we have Zatanna issue number 1, a brand new Zatanna series that is written and illustrated by Jamal Campbell. So knowing that Campbell's attached to it, you know it's got some great artwork. It's got some really, really solid artwork, some great layouts, a really great pace to it as well, some really great panel design, page composition, really solid stuff there. The story is okay. I've read better Zatanna issue number 1s, but this one still works. Zatanna is one of my favorite characters at DC. In fact, a long time ago, somebody asked me, who do you think is the sexiest comic book character of all time? And I didn't really think about things like that. I mean, they're fictional comic book characters. Then I thought about, what would I want my partner to dress as if they cosplayed in a sexy way a character? Zatanna, the top hat, the fishnets. It gets me going, right? But anyway, Zatanna's become one of my favorite characters. This is a really solid book, but it's not as good as some of the other Zatanna number 1s we've seen from, say, like Paul Dini or even the Tamaki and Rodriguez book that just recently wrapped up, Bringing Down the House. It's good. It's solid. Jamal Campbell is an artist now doing his own writing. I love it when that happens. I love when there's like one voice on a comic, basically, but Jamal needs a little bit of experience, and I think that this book is giving that experience to him. I think it's going to iron out. It's not bad. It's pretty solid. I liked it, and I would recommend you checking it out, especially if you're a fan of the character of Zatanna Zatara. All right, then we got New Gods issue number 3, and look at that, y'all. A New Gods book by Ron B that didn't make the pick of the week, but it could have, because this book was freaking awesome. It's great. You got Ricardo Federici here on the art for the backup stories, but the backup story actually takes up most of the book here. You get a lot of information about the gods of the third and second world and how that relates to the forming of the fourth world. You get a little bit of stuff by Evan Cagle that sets up what's to come or what's already happened. That stuff is interesting, but it's really all the backstory that is so freaking cool. The way that Ron V plays with mythology. And that's what the New Gods is. It is straight up Jack Kirby superhero mythology. And Ron V knows that assignment. He gets it, and he's nailing it, and he's making and crafting a really solid story that takes a moment here in issue number 3 to pull back the curtains and reveal some stuff that's going to be very pertinent for what's to come. So New Gods absolutely freaking rocks. Also, there's the acetate variant cover. It might be $10. That might be too much for some people, but I'm going to tell you something. I love these acetate covers. I think they're very clever. I think they're very cool, especially the back covers. And I'm going to give it Cover of the Week by Evan Cagle, the acetate cover. And also, the smell of the week goes to this particular version of New Gods. It smells like vanilla, butterscotch, and cosmic epicness. Yeah, that's what it smells like. So it gets the smell of the week and the cover of the week. There you go. Then we got Batman and Robin Year 1, issue number 5. Another great issue of Batman and Robin Year 1. Mark Waid, when he's working with a top-tier artist, really is excelling right now. Whether it's Dan Mora or Chris Samney here in the pages of Batman and Robin Year 1. The art is amazing. If you love the Batman animated series vibes, it's kind of like Bruce Timm-esque, but more realistic, but still with that animated quality, but less like angular and stuff like that. Really solid artwork. The characterizations of Bruce and Robin and Alfred and Clayface, because Clayface is the villain here, as you can tell by the cover, absolutely works. It rocks. This book is absolutely fantastic. Amazing artwork. Nobody spots blacks in the comic book industry right now like Chris Samney. And what I mean by that is the usage of black as a tone to balance an image. They did a Batman and Robin Year 1 Noir edition of issue number 1. I need that for every single issue because this dude is so good at crafting balanced black and white artwork. And Matt Wilson's coloring is, or my bad, it's Matthias Lopez actually on the coloring. The coloring is amazing too. It really helps accentuate the mood and the tone of the story. Man, some great artwork and a really great story. All right. Wonder Woman number 18. Tom King's Wonder Woman. A book I didn't like so much at first. Started to like, started to appreciate, started to love. Loved so much, I made it it made my top 5 books of 2024. Issue number 18 continues that thread. Absolutely freaking amazing. We're nearing the end game of Tom King's Wonder Woman run. Daniel Sampere's artwork, strong, solid. But the way that Tom King pays so much attention to each page, each panel, each line of dialogue in this Wonder Woman book frickin' works. And it works so well. Wonder Woman has had enough. We're approaching the end game now. And that's what's happening here in Wonder Woman number 18. And it's absolutely phenomenal. Then we get Nightwing, issue 123, 123. Dan Waters has been on this book. Dan Waters is one of my favorite writers in comics right now. I love his more dark approach to stories. Nightwing is not a dark approach type book. I felt like Dan Waters didn't quite fit with Nightwing for the last 4 issues. Here on his 5th issue, it's starting to work for me just a little bit more. First of all, Dexter Soy's artwork has been amazing all throughout. I'm used to his art being very dynamic. There could be more dynamic scenes in this issue, but the artwork still slaps, and the story, what I expect and love from Dan Waters, is starting to come through. This idea of these flyboys and how it ties into Infinite Crisis type stuff, I really like that. It's got exciting artwork, could be a little bit more dynamic, but I feel like by this point, because I think Dexter Soy's done every single issue, so I think at this point he's kind of rushing it through. But Dan Waters' script, his style of writing is starting to fit the appropriate tone for Nightwing for me. So I think it's taken him a few issues, but I think it's starting to work. All right. Then we got The Question, All Along the Watchtower, issue number 4. And the big villain has been revealed. The Question, Renee Montoya, is basically security. She's the Odo of the Justice League Watchtower. If you want to think of the Justice League Watchtower as DS9, she's the Odo. Who's the Quark? I want to find that out. Anyway, the story's great. The story's pretty solid. The big villain's been revealed. It's Cyborg Superman. It's Cyborg Superman, y'all. It's Cyborg Superman. He's got his own Superman Revenge Squad. I like the book. I think it's solid. It's not super great. It's not gonna wow you or blow your minds away or make you write home to mom and tell you that your life has changed because you read a Question comic. The Question comic's going to do that is the Denny O'Neil, Dennis Cowan, Bill Sienkiewicz stuff. So read that for real. But I love Renee Montoya as a character. I love The Question as a character. I love Renee as The Question. And I really dig this and how integral it feels to the overall DC arc right now. So I thought that was cool. All right. Ginny Sparks, issue number 7. DC Black Label. Great artwork by Jeff Spokes. Do not want to undersell the artwork. I love how the panels look like widescreens. I don't know if that's Jeff's idea or if it's Tom's idea, because this is written by Tom King, but it does a great job of kind of playing around with the authority by Brian Hitch, that widescreen early 2000s kind of vibe, and that's what it should do, but it does it a little bit differently, and I appreciate that. So the art was great. Story. This is a book that I've always been annoyed with until I read it, and as I'm reading it, I like it. Until the last issue. I did not like the last issue. I thought it kind of wrapped itself up. Conveniently is the wrong word. I don't know the right word right now, but it just did not land for me. I did not like the ending. I did not like the finale. And overall, it makes me not like the series. It had great artwork. It had some great moments. But for the most part, it was that, like, Neil Gaiman, I know we're not really supposed to talk about him right now, but Neil Gaiman did an issue of Sandman where Dr. Destiny takes over a whole diner, right? And he declares himself God and causes all these changes. That's what this book is playing with. It's playing with that concept, but with Captain Atom and Ginny Sparks there to save the day. Is it clever how Ginny saves the day? Because, spoilers, the bad guys don't win. It's all right. It's a little too obvious, a little bit too boring. I don't know. I did not like this finale, and definitely now, 7 issues in, the whole series through, I wouldn't recommend it. All right, from Dark Horse Comics, we have Let This One Be a Devil, issue number 1. This is a new book written by James Tynion IV and Steve Fox. Yeah, Steve Fox, Piotr Kowalski on the artwork. Love the artwork. This is part of the, I guess, the true weird stuff that James Tynion's doing, where he's trying to play with, like, cryptids and cryptozoology and mysteries and paranormal stuff. It did not really work for me that much. I like the artwork. I like the artwork a lot. The story's decent enough. It's about the Leeds devil, like this devil creature that shows up from this family, the Leeds or something. It's all right, but there's not enough here in the first issue to really hook me in. And I need that. I need that. I feel like James Tynion's hit that point where he's using his name to help boost up some of his friends. This is a Steve Fox book. It's not a James Tynion book, right? So don't be deceived. Do not be misled. If you're a big hardcore James Tynion fan, this isn't a James Tynion book. It doesn't read like one. It reads, I guess, like a Steve Fox book, which is just kind of okay, and not enough gets accomplished in issue number 1 to really entice me to bring me back. But I love Kowalski's artwork, and I like the backup story that has artwork by Jessica Lonergan. So that was pretty dope, but otherwise, it was okay. It was just okay. And then we got Godzilla Heist, issue number 1 from IDW. I didn't like this one. I wanted to like this one so bad. So there's a book that came out not too long ago. I can't remember if it's Image or Boom or somebody else. But it was a book about criminals utilizing the fact that kaiju exist in this world to cover up their criminal plans, their heists. I guess the Godzilla editors read that, heard about it, or somebody else did. Maybe the writer made a pitch, maybe they didn't know, but like they were like, oh, what if there's a criminal who like covers up his bank robberies and his heists with like Godzilla attacks? We've seen it before. I don't remember the name of that book. I don't remember the name of that book right now. Somebody in the comments, y'all are super smart. Let me know. What's the name of the book about kaiju attacking and people performing heists while that is happening? But that's basically the premise of this book with Godzilla. The art's pretty cool. I like the texturized nature of the artwork, but the story, it's alright. It is just okay. It didn't really super work for me. So there you go. That's what I read. That's what I thought. So let's recap real quick. Godzilla Heist didn't really quite work for me. Let This One Be a Devil didn't quite work for me. Ginny Sparks, the finale, definitely did not work for me. Question All Along the Watchtower, still pretty solid. Nightwing, Dan Waters is starting to hit his stride with Dick Grayson. Wonder Woman is amazing as usual. Batman and Robin Year 1, the same. New Gods, cover of the week, smell of the week, and a really great world building and past building issue of Ron V's New Gods with Evan Cagle and Riccardo Federici. Zatanna, not as good as other Zatanna number 1s, but still pretty solid. Jamal Campbell's got a bright future in this industry. Aliens vs. Avengers, I really liked it. Ultimate Black Panther, I liked that one too. Ultimate Wolverine was better than issue number 1. Mystique was a great finale that everybody needs to check out. Storm, cosmic, unexpected glory is what Storm was. Uncanny X-Men was decent, again. Amazing Spider-Man was not that great. Thunderbolts Doomstrike was not that great. Doom Academy was whack as shit. Weapon X-Men was fucking awesome. King Spawn, it does what King Spawn do, which is be very consistent. Doll Parts, issue number 3, best issue of the series yet, almost pick of the week. Holy Roller, the finale, issue number 9, amazing and wholesome, and it ties everything together, almost the pick of the week. G.I. Joe, issue number 4, another solid slam bang fun issue of G.I. Joe. But Worldtree, issue number 13, the book I've almost given up on multiple times because of the innovative artistic expression in storytelling in this issue, makes the pick of the week. So there you go. Worldtree number 13. That's what I read. That's what I thought. That's what I'm digging. What are you reading? What are you thinking? What are you digging? Let us know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and join us over at patreon.com/PCP if you want to help support the channel. I've been Rockin Robbie Billups. Thanks for rocking with us. Keep on reading. Station, pop, pop, boom. And if you ain't down with PCPX, I got 2 words for you. Get fucked.